The billionaire came home early that day and saw his wife tied up the black maid in a chair, striking her with his belt. Callum's blood ran cold the instant he crossed the front door of his own home. His eyes froze on the scene. Amaya, tied to a chair, trembling, while his wife's belt swung with merciless precision. Rage, disbelief, and fear collided in his chest. "Leona, what are you doing?" he bellowed, voice cracking. Amaya's eyes met his, wide with terror, lips trembling. "Please, sir. I didn't." Callum's heart shattered. How could the woman he married inflict this cruelty? How could the life he thought he knew twist into something so dark, so unthinkable? And in that moment, everything changed. This wasn't just a fight for justice. It was a battle for Amaya's survival, for the truth, and for exposing a darkness that had been hiding behind gilded walls for far too long. From that instant, Callum knew nothing would ever be the same again. Hey, before we dive into this story, I just want to know, where are you watching from? Drop your city or state in the comments. I want to see how far this story is reaching, and honestly, it makes my heart full to know so many of you are here, sharing this moment with me. Every comment matters, because stories like this remind us that courage, empathy, and justice connect people everywhere. So go ahead, tell me where you're watching from. I'm listening. Amaya Reddick, 23, sat frozen in the chair, her wrists stinging where the rope rubbed. Her breath shook with every inhale. She didn't look at Leona Drayton, not because she was weak, but because she feared that if she made eye contact, she might break. Leona's voice sliced through the room. "Say something, Amaya. Go on. Defend yourself. Isn't that what you people do best?" Amaya swallowed hard. "I didn't do anything," she whispered, barely audible. "Mrs. Drayton, please." Leona laughed, sharp and cold. "Please? You think please fixes what you've done?" "I didn't do anything," Amaya repeated, her voice trembling. "I just came here to work." Leona leaned closer, eyes burning. "Work? Honey, this house was running perfectly fine before you showed up." Before Amaya could speak again, the mansion's front door slammed. A man's voice boomed from the hallway. "Leona, why is the alarm off? And why were the staff doors open?" Amaya's heart lurched. "Callum, he wasn't supposed to be home for another 2 hours." Leona's expression changed instantly. Annoyance flickered across her face. "Perfect," she muttered under her breath. "Just perfect." Callum's footsteps grew louder. "Leona," he called. "Where are you?" He reached the doorway and stopped dead. His eyes locked onto Amaya. Not the ropes, not the belt on the floor, but her face, the fear in it. And his own face crumpled. "Amaya," his voice cracked. What happened?" Leona moved smoothly between them. "Callum, please. Don't jump to conclusions." "Conclusions?" Callum's voice shook. "Why is she tied to a chair?" Amaya opened her mouth, but only a small sound came out. "Mr. Drayton, I didn't." "Don't speak," Leona snapped. "You've said enough." Callum turned to his wife. "Leona, what did you do?" "What I did?" Leona pointed at Amaya. "She stole from us. She tried to run. I stopped her." Amaya shook her head violently. "That's not true. I never." "Quiet," Leona hissed. Callum's voice rose. "Leona, you restrained her? Without calling me? Without talking to anyone? She was dangerous." Leona shouted back. "To who?" Callum demanded. "Look at her. She's terrified." Leona smiled, too calm. "Fear is what guilty people feel." Amaya's eyes filled. "Please. I didn't steal anything. I've never stolen a thing in my life." Callum stepped toward her. "I believe you." Leona grabbed his wrist. "Callum, don't touch her." He froze. "Let me go." "Leona," he said quietly. "Right now." She held on tighter. "You're being manipulated. She's playing you." Amaya's voice broke. "Why would I want to hurt anyone here? I just needed this job." "See?" Leona hissed. "Crying on cue." Callum's eyes hardened. "Leona, stop. This isn't you." Leona laughed softly. "Oh, Callum, you have no idea who I really am." He pulled his wrist free and looked at the wall, eyes narrowing at the small, blinking red light in the corner. "Leona," he said slowly, voice low and steady. "Why is there a camera in this room?" Leona's smile faded. Amaya's breathing hitched, and the house fell silent. Callum stared at the blinking camera, then at his wife, and whispered, "What else have you been hiding?" If this story has already gripped you and left your heart racing, don't keep it to yourself. Hit that like button to show your support. Subscribe so you never miss the next chapter, and and share it with someone who needs to hear a story about courage and standing up for what's right. Every click, every share, helps amplify voices like Amaya's. And together, we can make sure stories of justice, empathy, and resilience reach far and wide. Callum's chest rose and fell fast as he stared at the blinking camera. He turned to Leona, his voice no longer trembling, just sharp. Explain it. Now. Leona folded her arms. Explain what? The fact that she's a liar? A thief? Amaya's lips parted. Mrs. Drayton, don't interrupt. Leona snapped. Callum stepped in front of Amaya protectively. She is tied to a chair, Leona. She is crying. And there is a hidden camera in the room. You think I'm asking her for an explanation? Leona scoffed, but her eyes flicked toward the camera. Quick, nervous. Callum, she said, raising her chin. You don't understand the type of girl she is. Amaya's heart dropped. The words weren't loud, but they were poisonous. Callum turned slowly. And what type is that? Leona hesitated for half a breath. The type who lies for a living. That's not true, Amaya whispered, the words shaking out of her. I've never lied to either of you. Leona smirked. Look at that. Her voice works now. Leona. Callum shouted, louder than before. Enough. The sound bounced off the mansion walls. Amaya flinched, not from him, but from the tension exploding between the two people who controlled her job, her income, her entire future. Callum's voice softened only when he turned to her. Amaya, did you steal something? No, she whispered. Never. I would never do that. Callum nodded once, like he believed her instantly, which made something inside Amaya shake in a way she didn't expect. But Leona lunged forward. You're defending her? Over me. I'm asking for the truth. Callum snapped. The truth is, she's been planning something. She's been acting strange for weeks. I've been scared for weeks, Amaya murmured. Leona whirled on her. Oh, please. Your whole act is exhausting. Callum rubbed his forehead. This is insane. Leona, untie her. Now. No, Leona said, eyes flashing. She stays right there until we figure out what she's hiding. Callum froze. A part of him looked like it broke right then. Leona, he whispered. What happened to you? Her jaw clenched, but she didn't answer. Before either of them could speak again, Amaya's vision blurred and her mind drifted back to Maryland, back to her grandmother's small kitchen with its warm yellow lights and the smell of cinnamon bread. Baby, her grandmother would say, holding Amaya's face gently. People will try to crush your spirit. Don't let them. You hear me. I hear you, Nana. A younger Amaya would whisper, leaning into the soft, wrinkled hands. But what if they don't like me? Then you stand taller, Nana replied. You speak kindly. You live honest. And you walk with dignity, whether they give it to you or not. Amaya blinked, and the kitchen disappeared. She was back in the cold mansion. Back in the chair. Back in danger. Callum exhaled, long and heavy. I want the security footage pulled. Every camera in this hallway. Every camera in this room. Leona stiffened. Callum, no? No, that's unnecessary. Oh, it's necessary, he said. Her face went pale. Callum, she said again, voice cracking slightly for the first time. Don't you dare touch those cameras. His eyes narrowed. Why not, Leona? She didn't answer. She couldn't. And that silence, sharp, trembling, terrified, filled the entire room. Callum reached for his phone to call the security team, and Leona suddenly lunged forward, grabbing his arm with a desperate, trembling grip. Callum, wait. Please. Don't check those cameras. Callum pulled his arm free from Leona's grip. Why don't you want the cameras checked? He demanded. Leona didn't blink. Because I already looked at them. You what? Callum's face tightened. I reviewed everything, Leona said quickly. There's nothing useful on them. Amaya sensed something shift in her tone. Too quick, too rehearsed. Callum stepped back. Show me. Leona hesitated. Callum. Show. Me. Her jaw clenched as she walked toward the house control tablet mounted on the wall. Her fingers hovered above the screen. She wasn't scared of being caught. She was scared of being seen. Callum stood directly behind her. Open the staff hallway files. I told you. There's nothing there, she snapped. Open them anyway. Leona exhaled sharply, tapped the tab, and froze. The screen showed every camera name, but no video files. All labeled. No data available. Callum's voice lowered dangerously. Where are the recordings? Leona didn't turn. It must have glitched. You expect me to believe every camera glitched at the same time? His voice cracked with disbelief. Leona, what did you do? Leona spun around. Fine. Yes. I deleted them. Amaya's breath caught. Callum's eyes widened. You what? I deleted them because they didn't matter, Leona said, voice rising. Because she's manipulating you. Because she's not who you think she is. Callum stared at her like he was seeing a stranger. You destroyed evidence. I protected our family, she yelled. By erasing the truth. Callum stepped away from her, disgusted. I can't believe this. Leona crossed her arms, chin trembling. You're choosing her over me. I'm choosing facts, Leona. Amaya lowered her eyes, wishing she could disappear into the chair. Leona turned on her. You think he's going to save you? He doesn't even know you. Callum snapped. Stop talking to her like that. I'll talk however I want in my own house. This is our house, Callum shot back. And you're turning it into a nightmare. Leona froze, hurt flashing before she buried it under anger again. Fine. Believe her. Believe the poor little maid who came here pretending she was innocent. Amaya whispered. I wasn't pretending anything. Leona ignored her and stormed out, slamming the door so hard Amaya jumped. Callum rubbed his face. I didn't know it was this bad. Amaya felt a lump build in her throat. Sir, I'm sorry you walked in on all of this. You didn't do anything wrong, he said. Not a thing. His voice was soft. Too soft. Like it hurt him to admit what was unraveling. As he untied her wrists, Amaya's mind drifted to her first day in the Drayton mansion months ago. She remembered walking in through the back entrance, clutching her tiny bag of belongings. The floors were polished like lakes. The ceilings were so high she felt like she'd stepped into a palace. The house manager, Mrs. Hallings, had greeted her with a warm smile that reached her eyes. Welcome to the Drayton home. I'm sure you'll do well here, sweet girl. And Amaya had believed her. She'd believed she had found a safe job, a fresh start, a place she could breathe. She'd felt hope. Real hope. Callum gently touched her shoulder, bringing her back to the present. Amaya, I'm going to fix this. Before she could respond, the door cracked open. Mrs. Hallings slipped inside quietly, eyes darting down the hallway to make sure no one followed. Her voice trembled. Amaya, she whispered, you need to be careful. Amaya frowned. Why? The older woman swallowed hard. Because this house has destroyed people before you. Amaya stepped cautiously into the hallway, her wrists still tender. Mrs. Hallings had already disappeared back toward the kitchen, as if even warning her was dangerous. She headed toward the staff staircase when a sharp voice cut through the quiet. Going somewhere. Leona. Amaya froze. Leona stepped out from behind a column, arms crossed tightly, eyes burning with anger that looked older than the moment, anger that had been waiting for her. Answer me, Leona said coldly. Where do you think you're going? Amaya swallowed. To clean the upstairs rooms, like my schedule says. Leona took a slow step closer. You think you can walk around here like you belong? I'm just doing my job, ma'am. Your job, Leona repeated, mocking the words. Do you even understand how much trust it takes to hire someone like you in a house like this? Amaya's chest tightened. Someone like me? Leona leaned in, her voice dropping to a hiss. Yes, someone who can't be trusted. Amaya felt heat rise behind her eyes. I have never given you any reason. Don't lie to me, Leona snapped. I see the way you walk around here. Acting humble. Acting grateful. You think that makes you safe? I'm not acting, Amaya whispered. I really am grateful. Leona's jaw tightened. Girls like you always say that. And then you take advantage of people like us. Amaya stepped back. Mrs. Drayton, why do you hate me so much? Leona's expression cracked for a split second before she masked it again. Because you're not as innocent as you pretend. I didn't pretend anything, Amaya said softly. I came here to work. Nothing else. Leona laughed bitterly. Work? Please. You walked into this house the moment my marriage started falling apart. Amaya shook her head. I never tried to hurt you. You already did. Leona shouted, voice echoing off the marble. The moment he defended you. Amaya flinched. Leona leaned in so close Amaya could feel her breath. Stay in your place, or I'll make sure you lose more than just your job. A voice cut through the tension like a blade. Leona, step away from her. Callum stood at the end of the hallway, face tight, voice steady. Leona stiffened. So now you follow her around the house? Wonderful. Callum ignored her and walked straight to Amaya. Are you okay? Leona scoffed loudly. Amaya nodded weakly, though the truth sat like a stone in her stomach. Callum exhaled. I'm sorry you're going through this. I've already called someone to help recover the deleted camera files. I'll get answers. I promise. Leona whirled on him. You're still investigating? Yes, Callum said firmly. Because something is wrong here. And I'm not going to ignore it. Leona stared at him, eyes wide with betrayal. Unbelievable. She stormed away, her heels striking the floor like small explosions. Callum turned back to Amaya. Don't let her scare you. I'll protect you while I figure this out. Amaya nodded. Thank you, sir. He walked her to the staff hallway, trying to calm her with gentle words, but her heart didn't settle. Something in Leona's eyes earlier, something wild, kept replaying in her mind. After Callum left, Amaya headed to her tiny staff room to breathe. Her phone buzzed. A text from an unknown number. She unlocked it, expecting a scam, a wrong number, anything normal. But the message made her blood run cold. Leave that house tonight if you want to be safe. Amaya woke to the soft click of her doorknob shifting. Her eyes snapped open. Another click. Then a slow, deliberate push against the wood. She bolted upright in her narrow staff bed. Her heart pounded so loudly she could hear nothing else. Hello. Her voice cracked. Who's there? The pressure on the door stopped. Silence. A long, chilling silence. Then soft footsteps retreated down the hallway. Amaya pressed her hand to her chest, trying to steady her breathing, but it only made tears gather in her eyes. Not again. Please, not again, she whispered. She slipped out of bed and pressed her ear to the door. No movement, no voices. Just the distant hum of the mansion's central AC. The hallway lights remained dim. Everything looked untouched. But someone had just tried to come in. Someone who thought she wouldn't wake up. Her voice trembled. I can't stay here alone. Amaya grabbed her phone with shaking fingers and dialed the only number that ever grounded her. Pick up. Come on, Bish, pick up. After 3 rings. Yo, Maya. Bishop's groggy voice filled the speaker. It's like 3 a.m. What's wrong? You breathing hard. She sank to the floor. Someone tried to come into my room. Silence. Then his tone sharpened. What you mean tried? Maya, talk to me. I heard the lock move. Twice. They pushed the door. She shut her eyes. Bishop, I'm so scared. He didn't try to calm her with false promises. He knew better. Did you call security? No. If it's one of them? If it's Leona, or... Her voice broke. I don't know who to trust. Bishop exhaled slowly. Okay. Listen to me. Remember what your grandma used to say? Amaya pressed her forehead to her knees. Which one? That fear ain't the same as danger. Fear means you're paying attention. Danger means you gotta move. A shaky laugh escaped her. She did love her little speeches. Yeah, and she loved you even more. Enough to want you safe. So what do you need me to do? You want me to drive up there right now? No. She wiped her face with her sleeve. Just talk to me for a minute. He did. He talked about the corner store back in Maryland, about the old men arguing about basketball, about the crab boil she missed last summer. His words wrapped around her like a blanket, warm, familiar, home. Eventually her breathing steadied. You got this, Bishop murmured. You're stronger than what that house is trying to make you feel. She whispered, thank you. When she hung up, the room felt quieter, but not safer. She stood, wiping her eyes, and walked toward her small mirror mounted above the dresser. She wanted to check her reflection, see if she still looked like herself. But something about the mirror felt off. A faint wire, thread-thin and out of place, peeked from the corner of the frame. Amaya frowned. What is that? She tugged the mirror gently. It shifted. Her breath froze. Behind it, tucked in a carved-out pocket in the wall, a tiny camera lens blinked red. No. Her hand flew to her mouth. No. Someone had been watching her sleep, watching her change, watching everything. Her pulse thundered in her ears as fear crawled up her spine like ice. Before she could think, before she could breathe, her phone buzzed beside her. A new message. She turned it over with trembling fingers. Unknown number. If you value your life, don't tell anyone what you just found. Amaya's legs nearly buckled. The house wasn't just dangerous. It was hunting her. Amaya didn't sleep. She sat on the edge of her bed until sunrise lit the wall a pale gold. The hidden camera remained on the floor where she'd dropped it, face down like something poisonous. By mid-morning, she forced herself out of her room. She needed answers. She needed to breathe air that didn't feel watched. She walked down the hallway quietly, keeping her head down, praying she didn't run into. A voice snapped from around the corner. "You think I won't fire you? Try me." "Leona." Amaya froze. The voice she answered was a young man's. The new dishwasher, Mateo, barely 19. His voice trembled. "Ma'am, I didn't break anything. I swear I didn't." "You're lying." Leona's heels clicked sharply, pacing. "I can smell dishonesty a mile away. You people always act innocent until money goes missing." Amaya's breath caught in her throat. The venom in those two words, "you people," pooled in the pit of her stomach. Mateo whispered, "Please, Ms. Leona, I need this job." "Then learn your place," she hissed. Amaya pressed her back to the wall, fists trembling at her sides. Shame, anger, and fear twisted inside her like a knot. Leona continued, her voice dropping to a low, dangerous whisper. "You say one word about this, and not only will you lose your job, you'll lose your visa too." Mateo's breath hitched. Amaya covered her mouth. She couldn't move, couldn't step in, couldn't let herself be seen. After a long, suffocating silence, Mateo murmured, "Yes, ma'am." Leona's heels clicked away, smooth and satisfied. Amaya didn't breathe until both footsteps faded. When she finally eased down the hallway, her legs felt weak, the world too loud. Every shadow looked like someone watching her. Every sound made her jump. "Grandma," she whispered under her breath. "What would you tell me right now?" And just like that, a memory slipped in, soft as a lullaby. She was 7 again, sitting on her grandmother's lap on the back porch in Maryland, cicadas humming in the summer heat. Grandma rocked gently in her chair, humming an old gospel tune. "Sing with me, baby," she'd said, tapping Amaya's knee. Amaya had giggled. "I don't know the words." "You don't need the words," Grandma replied. "Just sing what you feel. Your voice always knows the truth." Back then, Amaya's voice had been small but brave. The melody had floated out of her, soft but sure. Grandma hugged her tight, whispering, "You're meant for more than fear, sweetheart." The memory warmed her chest now, even as her eyes stung. "I'm trying, Grandma," she murmured. "I'm really trying." She wiped her face and kept walking. Her feet led her toward the West Wing, toward Leona's office. She didn't know why. Maybe she was desperate for answers. Maybe she was tired of feeling powerless. The door stood slightly open. Amaya hesitated, pulse racing. She wasn't going to step inside. She only meant to pass by. But then she saw it. On Leona's polished mahogany desk lay an envelope. White, crisp, untouched, and written on the front, in neat looping handwriting. Amaya. Her breath hitched. Why did Leona have something with her name on it? Her hand hovered in the doorway, heart pounding against her ribs, whispering, "No, no, this can't be for me." But it was. It was unmistakable, and the room was empty. Slowly, cautiously, Amaya stepped inside. The envelope waited. Quiet. Still. Almost deliberate. Her fingers shook as they reached toward it. Right as a shadow moved behind the frosted glass of the door, the doorknob turned. Someone was coming. Amaya's fingers trembled as she lifted the envelope from Leona's desk. The paper inside felt heavy, like it carried more than just ink. She tore it open. Her eyes scanned the contents, and the color drained from her face. It was a police report, dated yesterday. Her name was on it, framed as a criminal. Every word twisted her into someone she wasn't. Someone dangerous. Someone who had stolen, lied, or threatened the Draytons. "No, no," she whispered, heart hammering. "This can't be real." Callum's words from earlier echoed in her mind. "I believe you." She clutched the pages to her chest, legs weak, the room spinning. She could feel the rage bubbling, hot and bitter, but also fear. If anyone saw this, if anyone believed it, she would be ruined. Her chest tightened. "Why would she do this?" she muttered. "Why, Leona, why?" A memory of Bishop's voice whispered in her mind. "You're stronger than what that house is trying to make you feel." She drew a shaky breath and tucked the papers into her jacket. Just then, footsteps clicked down the hall. Light, purposeful, deliberate. "Amaya." Callum's voice called softly from the staircase. "Are you okay? I need to talk to you." She hesitated, debating whether to show him the papers. Could she trust him enough? Could he even help? I think you should see this," she whispered, holding the envelope behind her back. Callum's expression softened as he stepped closer. "Show me, Amaya. Whatever it is, I'll handle it." She pulled the papers out slowly. Callum's eyebrows knitted together as he read the fabricated report. Leona, did this? He asked, disbelief lacing his voice. Amaya nodded. She wants me gone. She wants me destroyed. I don't know why, but it's all lies. Callum's jaw tightened. I won't let this happen. I'm going to check every camera, every log. I'll find proof. I'll show her you're innocent. For the first time in weeks, Amaya felt a glimmer of hope. Someone believed her. Someone was on her side. But just as she exhaled, a sound froze her blood. The door creaked. Leona stepped into the room, her eyes narrowing the instant she saw the envelope in Amaya's hands. Amaya. Her voice was smooth, quiet, almost sweet, but underneath it was a knife. What do you think you're doing? Amaya's hands shook. I thought. Leona's smile flickered. You thought what? That you could steal my secrets without me knowing. Callum stepped forward. Leona, it's just papers, nothing more. Please, Don't. Leona snapped, cutting him off. Her eyes were wild now, dangerous. Don't you touch her. Don't you speak for her. That envelope belongs to me, and I will decide what happens next. Amaya's chest tightened. Her stomach lurched. The room felt smaller, tighter, the air heavy with tension. Leona's voice dropped to a hiss. Give me that now, before things get messy. Amaya's fingers tightened around the envelope. She had a choice, hand it over or fight back. The first real decision she had to make since she arrived. And then, the moment froze. Leona's eyes were on her. Callum's gaze was pleading, and the envelope, the weight of it, felt like it could crush her. Before Amaya could decide, the doorknob rattled violently behind her, as if someone else, or something else, was about to enter. Leona's eyes burned like fire as she stepped toward Amaya, her voice low and cutting. You, she spat, pointing an accusatory finger. I've had enough of you. I've been patient, but your lies, your manipulation, enough. Amaya's mouth went dry. Mrs. Drayton, I swear. Don't. Speak. Leona's hand gestured sharply. Pack your things. You're fired. And don't think this is the end. I'll make sure everyone knows what kind of girl you are. I'll ruin you. Amaya felt the world tilt. Her stomach dropped, her throat tightened. Please. I've done nothing wrong. I just want to work. Leona's lips curled into a sneer. Work? You think your honesty matters here? I can destroy your life before the week is out. Believe me, you'll be nothing. Amaya swallowed hard, tears threatening to spill. She wanted to run, to scream, to disappear, but the mansion seemed to close in around her. Leona. Callum's voice cut sharply through the tension. He stepped between them, hands raised. Stop. This stops now. Leona's eyes narrowed, but Callum didn't waver. You're not firing her. Not like this. She's innocent, and I will not allow you to ruin her. She's lying, Callum. Leona shot back. She's everything you think she's not. Callum shook his head. No. I've seen enough. I know who you are too, and I will not let you terrorize her in this house. She stays. You need to calm down. Leona opened her mouth to argue, but Callum didn't give her the chance. He stepped closer to Amaya. Go to your room. Sit down. Breathe. You're safe, for now. Amaya's knees nearly gave out as she retreated toward her small bedroom, gripping the envelope against her chest. For the first time in weeks, she felt like she could inhale without fear suffocating her lungs. Callum closed the door behind her and leaned against it, rubbing his face. I don't know why she's doing this. I don't understand how she's been able to push so far. But I promise you, Amaya, I'll figure it out. Amaya sank onto the edge of her bed, letting herself finally breathe. Memories of her grandmother whispered in her mind. Stand taller, speak kindly, walk with dignity. She repeated the words silently, letting them settle in her chest. For a moment, the chaos outside the door felt distant. The house didn't feel quite so suffocating. She clutched the envelope and imagined a life beyond fear. But then a knock at her door startled her. Callum's voice came softly from the other side. Amaya, I need to tell you something. She turned toward the door, confusion knitting her brow. I've been checking the records, the staff files, he said. His voice grew heavier. Every maid before you? None of them lasted more than 3 months. Not one. Amaya froze. Her chest tightened. What does that mean? Callum's sigh was almost a groan. It means, Leona has done this before. She's done it to everyone. And now, she's set her sights on you. Her stomach sank like a stone. The room that had felt safe for a moment suddenly felt smaller, tighter, heavier. She clutched the envelope against her chest, her mind racing, heart pounding. And then her phone buzzed. A text appeared on the screen. Don't trust him either. They're all part of it. Amaya's hand shook as she stared at the words, the room seeming to close in around her. The grand chandelier lit the dining room like a spotlight. Guests in tailored suits and sparkling dresses murmured politely, champagne glasses in hand. Amaya carried the dessert tray, her hands trembling slightly, trying not to draw attention. Leona appeared beside her, flawless as always, a cold smile plastered on her face. Amaya, she said, loud enough for a few nearby guests to hear. Perhaps you should explain why the strawberries are slightly bruised? Amaya froze. I cleaned them carefully, Mrs. Drayton. Leona's smile widened, sharp as a knife. Carefully? Really? In a house like this, careful isn't good enough. Attention to detail matters. But clearly, you don't understand. A few guests chuckled politely. Some whispered behind their hands. The tension slammed into Amaya like ice. I'm sorry, Amaya murmured, her cheeks burning. Leona laughed, loud and deliberate. Sorry? You're always sorry, aren't you? A girl like you, always sorry when she makes a mistake. But perhaps it's not a mistake this time. Perhaps it's incompetence. Gasps rippled around the table. Eyes of wealthy guests widened. One woman whispered to her husband, barely concealing a smirk. Callum's jaw tightened. He cleared his throat. Leona, that's enough. She spun toward him, fury flashing. Enough? This is the first lesson she needs to learn. Everyone should see her place. Amaya wanted to vanish. She wanted to sink beneath the table. She placed the tray down quietly, praying no one would notice her trembling hands. After the dinner concluded, she slipped into the kitchen, hands shaking, chest tight. A soft voice followed her. Excuse me, Miss Reddick? She turned. A guest, a woman in a teal dress, her hair pinned neatly, looked at her with gentle eyes. I wanted to apologize, the woman said quietly. I shouldn't have let that happen. You didn't deserve it. Amaya blinked, surprised. Thank you, it means a lot. The woman smiled faintly. You're doing a great job. Don't let anyone make you feel otherwise. She slipped back into the crowd before Amaya could respond. Her heart steadied slightly, just enough to breathe. A small spark of hope. Not everyone was cruel. Amaya returned to her duties, wiping down the counters and arranging leftover desserts. She bent down to retrieve a plate and felt a folded piece of paper pressed into her hand. Confused, she opened it carefully. I know what Leona is hiding. Meet me. Midnight. The West Wing. Her pulse jumped. Who had left it? How did they know? She looked around the empty kitchen. No one. Only the soft hum of the refrigerator. Her hands shook as she folded the note back. The mansion suddenly felt darker, heavier, as if the walls themselves were listening. Amaya whispered to herself, heart racing. I don't know if I can trust anyone, but I have to know the truth. The clock ticked slowly, each second echoing through the kitchen. Midnight would come faster than she wanted, and as she glanced toward the hallway, the shadows seemed to stretch, almost as if someone, or something, was already waiting for her. Amaya tiptoed down the dimly lit West Wing, clutching the note in her hand. The mansion was unusually silent, as if holding its breath. A shadow moved near the library doorway. You came, a hushed voice said. Amaya stepped closer. A man emerged from behind a column, one of the dinner guests. He looked around nervously. I didn't want anyone to see me. Who are you? Amaya whispered. Name's Henry. His voice was low but urgent. I overheard a lot tonight. About Leona. About what she does to her staff. Amaya's chest tightened. What do you mean? Henry glanced down the hallway before leaning in. She's done this before. Not just to you. Employees, staff, even family friends. Racist incidents. Threats. She manipulates everyone in this house. People leave scared, humiliated, some leave broken. Amaya's hand flew to her mouth. You mean everyone? Before me. Henry nodded. Yes. You're not imagining it. And she planned that envelope. She's trying to frame you. She's done it before. Amaya's hand shook. I can't. I don't even know what to do. You document everything, Henry said quickly. Every text, every encounter, every strange note. Keep it hidden. That's how you survive this house. Amaya exhaled slowly, heart still racing. Okay, I can do that. I will. She went to her room and pulled out a small notebook she'd bought months ago, never touched. Now it felt like a lifeline. She wrote the date, the time, and every detail about the dinner, the envelope, the notes, Leona's threats, the cameras. Every moment etched down in ink, a small rebellion against the fear that had been suffocating her. Henry's voice came through the hallway again, a whisper. You're not alone. I'll help when I can. But be careful. Leona notices everything. Amaya nodded, swallowing her fear. Thank you. I needed someone to believe me. You're strong, Henry said. Stronger than you think. But remember, trust sparingly. And stay alert. As Henry slipped away into the shadows, Amaya felt a small spark of courage. She clutched her notebook to her chest. Finally, she had a plan, evidence, a record, a way to prove herself if needed. But then she heard it. A familiar sound. The soft click of a door opening. Callum. He had stepped into the hallway unnoticed, his face serious, eyes narrowing as he caught the tail end of her whispered conversation. Amaya froze, notebook pressed to her chest. Sir? Callum's expression darkened, muscles tightening. Amaya, what are you doing? His voice was low, almost dangerous. She swallowed, unsure what he'd heard. I'm keeping a record of everything, in case. Her voice faltered under his intense gaze. Callum's jaw clenched. He ran a hand through his hair, face pale. Everything about Leona? Amaya nodded slightly, eyes wide. Yes, sir. I think she's hiding things, dangerous things. Callum's lips pressed into a thin line. His eyes scanned the hallway, calculating, furious, and wary all at once. The mansion felt suddenly colder. Callum's phone buzzed, and a text appeared. Leona's handwriting on the screen, crisp and chilling. I know you're listening. Be careful who you trust. Amaya's chest tightened as Callum's eyes darkened, and she realized the battle was just beginning. Callum's fists clenched as he paced the grand foyer. His mind raced, replaying everything he had overheard. Amaya's whispered conversations, Henry's warnings, the envelope, the hidden camera. He found Leona in the study, sipping wine as if the world were perfectly normal. Leona, he said, voice low but sharp. We need to talk. Now. She looked up, calm and flawless, smiling faintly. Oh, about what, Callum? About every complaint I've received, he said, stepping closer. About the staff who quit after a few weeks, about Amaya, about all the things I've ignored because I trusted you. Leona's smile faltered slightly, a flicker of something dark crossing her eyes. Complaints? Those are exaggerations. Staff always leave. It's normal. Normal. Callum's voice cracked with disbelief. Every maid before Amaya lasted less than 3 months. Less than 3 months. You've humiliated, threatened, and manipulated them. And now you've tried to frame Amaya. Leona laughed softly, a sound with no warmth. Frame her? Oh, Callum, you think she's innocent because you want to believe in heroes. But this isn't about innocence. It's about control. She's ambitious, she thinks she belongs here. I can't let that happen. Callum's jaw tightened. Control? You're terrifying everyone in this house. You're poisoning everything. And I won't stand by while you do this to her. Leona tilted her head, her eyes cold and calculating. You've already chosen her side, haven't you? Maybe you think this makes you noble. But let me warn you. Callum straightened. I'm done listening to your threats. Amaya stays. And you will stop. Leona's lips curved into a faint, dangerous smile. If she stays, I'll make sure you regret it. Callum froze. Every muscle in his body stiffened. He had underestimated her, underestimated how far she was willing to go. Meanwhile, in her tiny staff bedroom, Amaya sat on the edge of her bed, gripping her notebook. Every encounter, every whispered warning, every lie Leona had told, the weight of it all pressed down on her chest. I can't, she whispered, pressing her face into her hands. Maybe I should just quit. Maybe this house, this place, is too dangerous. Maybe I'm not strong enough. Her mind flickered to Bishop's voice, to Henry's warning, to her grandmother's lessons. Stand taller. Speak kindly. Walk with dignity. A small, fragile spark of courage bloomed inside her chest. She straightened, brushing tears away. No, she whispered. I'm not quitting. Not now. Not ever. Just then, the soft chime of the mansion echoed through the hallway. She froze. Callum's voice called softly through the door. Amaya, are you in there? Her heart skipped a beat. She swallowed, holding her notebook tightly. And across the house, Leona leaned against the doorway to the study, wine in hand, watching them both. Her eyes glinted with menace. Let's see how long your hero can protect you, Callum. Amaya was folding linens in the staff laundry room when a sharp metallic clink caught her attention. She froze, bending down to peer into the bottom of the cart, and her eyes widened. Nestled among the folded towels was a small, velvet jewelry box. She hesitated, then opened it. Inside lay gleaming diamond earrings and a gold bracelet, the kind she had only ever seen on Leona at galas or in glossy magazines. Her stomach dropped. No, this isn't mine, she whispered, backing away. Just then, Matteo poked his head in. Miss Reddick? Is everything okay? Amaya's hands shook as she closed the box. Someone put this here. I didn't touch it. I swear. Matteo frowned. Are you sure? Maybe. I'm sure. Amaya interrupted, her voice rising, panicked. If anyone thinks I stole this, I'll be finished. I can't deal with this. She set the box down on the counter, staring at it like it might vanish if she ignored it long enough. Callum appeared in the doorway, eyes narrowing when he saw her face. Amaya, what's wrong? Amaya backed away, clutching her arms to her chest. Someone put expensive jewelry in my laundry cart. I didn't touch it, sir. Callum's jaw tightened. He stepped closer, kneeling slightly to meet her eyes. Are you lying to me? No. I swear, this isn't mine, she said, voice trembling. I didn't take anything. I would never. Callum exhaled slowly, studying her face. All right. I believe you. I think someone is trying to frame you. And I'll figure out who. Amaya's relief was immediate but fragile. Thank you, sir. I don't know what I'd do if you didn't believe me. Callum reached for the jewelry box and examined it carefully. Someone planted this. And whoever did it knows exactly how to push you to the edge. Amaya sank into the nearest chair, rubbing her forehead. I can't keep living like this. Every day, every move I make, it feels like a trap. Callum placed a hand on her shoulder. We'll get through this. I promise. But you need to be careful. And you need to document everything. Amaya nodded, pulling her notebook from her bag. I've been writing everything down, all the threats, the notes, the camera, even tonight. Callum smiled faintly, though worry still lingered in his eyes. Good. Keep going. Every detail counts. This isn't just about proving your innocence. It's about protecting you. Suddenly, the calm was shattered by a harsh knock at the front door. Amaya's heart jumped. Who could that be? Callum's brows furrowed as he strode toward the door. He opened it to reveal two uniformed police officers, their expressions serious. Mr. Drayton, one of them asked. We received a report regarding stolen jewelry. May we come in? Amaya froze, her hands clutching her notebook. Callum's eyes met hers, wide with concern. Amaya, stay calm. Don't say anything yet. And as the officers stepped into the mansion, Amaya realized the trap had begun, and this time, it could ruin everything. Amaya stood stiffly near the staff hallway, clutching her notebook, as the officers moved through the mansion. Their presence made the air feel tighter, heavier. Leona appeared behind the officers, impeccably dressed, face composed, but her eyes were sharp, calculating. Officers, she said smoothly, stepping forward. I'm afraid we have a serious problem. This young woman, Amaya Reddick, has stolen expensive jewelry from our home. Amaya's stomach lurched. Her mouth went dry. I didn't take anything, she blurted, voice shaky. Leona's lips curled into a faint, cruel smile. She's lying. She's tried to manipulate Mr. Drayton before, and now she's escalating. Callum stepped forward, his eyes blazing. Officers, that is absolutely untrue. Amaya has done nothing wrong. She's been nothing but honest and hardworking. Leona's glare snapped to him. You believe her? After all I've told you. Callum didn't waver. I believe in the truth. And the truth is, she's innocent. Amaya drew a shaky breath, flipping open her notebook. I can show you everything. The camera footage, the notes, the messages. I've been documenting everything since the first incident. The officers exchanged glances. One crouched slightly, eyeing her notebook. This is detailed, he murmured. Dates, times, incidents, it's thorough. Leona stiffened. That's not proof. Anyone could write this. Amaya's voice strengthened. It's the truth. I've written down every strange note, every hidden camera, every threatening action I've experienced. You can check everything, officers. Callum nodded, giving her a small, encouraging look. She's telling the truth. I've seen how she's been treated. You need to investigate fully before making any judgments. The officers murmured among themselves. One of them asked for the jewelry box and examined it. Another stepped aside, pulling out a small tablet. Leona's face hardened. I can assure you, she's trying to manipulate you, just like she manipulates everyone in this house. Amaya's hands tightened around her notebook. I've never manipulated anyone. I just want to do my job. I didn't steal anything, and I have evidence to prove it. The officers paused, then nodded to Callum. Sir, may I speak with you privately? One of them asked, voice low. Callum's eyes narrowed. He gave Amaya a reassuring glance. Stay here. Don't move. Amaya's stomach dropped. Something about the officer's tone made her blood run cold. Leona, noticing the brief exchange, smirked. I see even the officers doubt me now. Pathetic. Amaya swallowed hard, her pulse racing. She gripped her notebook tighter, feeling the weight of every documented incident, every hidden camera, every threat, like armor she hadn't realized she was wearing. Callum followed the officer down the hall, leaving Amaya standing alone. Her legs trembled as she watched him go. The officer's voice floated back faintly. Sir, I think you'll want to see this immediately. It's all on the security system. Amaya's heart pounded. Whatever it was, she knew this could change everything, either proving her innocence or plunging her deeper into Leona's trap. Callum and the officer returned to the main hall, the tablet glowing in the officer's hands. Sir, take a look at this, the officer said, voice low. He tapped the screen, and the footage filled the display. Amaya froze as she saw herself on the screen. Someone had placed the jewelry in her laundry cart. Every movement captured. The person's hands, moving quickly, deliberately, unmistakably Leona's. Amaya's breath caught. It's her, she whispered. Callum's eyes narrowed, jaw tight. I should have protected you sooner. I didn't see it. I should have stopped her. Amaya stepped closer, gripping his arm gently. It's not your fault, sir. You didn't know. Now you do. And that's what matters. Callum's shoulders slumped. I failed. I should have seen through her lies. All of them. The officer spoke up, voice firm. Callum, this footage, combined with her documentation, is more than enough to prove Amaya's innocence. The surveillance shows she had no access to the jewelry until it was planted. Amaya exhaled, a mixture of relief and lingering fear. So she's caught. Leona, standing at the top of the stairs, realized the officers were watching her carefully. Her face paled, her usual confidence faltering. She glanced between Callum and the tablet. You have proof? She hissed. Yes, Callum said sharply. We do. And it's all over the cameras and her documentation. You've lied about everything, Leona. Leona's eyes darted wildly. The smirk vanished. This isn't over. Before anyone could stop her, she bolted upstairs, her heels clicking like gunshots against the marble floor. Amaya's hands shook. She's running. She knows she's trapped. Callum grabbed her shoulder. Stay here. Don't move. We'll handle this. The officers took off after Leona, radios in hand, the mansion echoing with tension and urgency. Amaya stood near the staircase, clutching her notebook. Callum returned shortly, face pale but determined. She's trying to get out, he said, voice low. We need to stop her before she disappears. Amaya nodded, heart racing. But amidst the chaos, she felt a small flicker of hope. I've thought about what I want to do after this, sir. When everything is safe, I want to start a care home nonprofit, help kids and elderly people who can't defend themselves. I've dreamed about it for years. Callum's expression softened. That's admirable, Amaya. You deserve the chance to do that, without fear hanging over you. Suddenly, a loud shout rang through the hall. She's running. Amaya's eyes widened. What? Where? An officer sprinted past, shouting into a radio. All units, she's fleeing through the east wing. Callum's fists clenched. Stop her. Don't let her escape. Amaya gripped his arm. Sir, I think this is it. She can't hide anymore. She's been exposed. Callum nodded, determination blazing in his eyes. Yes, and we're going to make sure she faces the consequences for everything she's done. The sound of rushing footsteps echoed through the hall as officers chased Leona. Amaya felt a strange mixture of fear and triumph. After weeks of threats, manipulation, and lies, the woman who had terrorized her for so long was finally being cornered. Amaya's hands tightened around her notebook. It's over, it has to be over. But somewhere in the mansion, Leona's heels slammed against the floor as she disappeared around a corner, her face twisted in anger. And one officer's voice pierced the tense silence. "She won't get far, but you'll want to see this, sir." Amaya's heart pounded as she and Callum watched the officers sprint through the east wing, radios crackling. The mansion seemed alive with tension, every echo of footsteps amplifying the chaos. From the grand staircase, she saw Leona barreling toward the front door, a bag clutched tightly in her hands. Her face was wild, her eyes burning with desperation. "Stop her," one officer shouted. "She's fleeing the premises." Callum's fists clenched. "She won't get away. She can't. We have the cameras tracking her every move." Amaya's chest tightened. She gripped her notebook like a lifeline. "I never thought, after everything, she'd be caught. I can't believe it's finally happening." The officers closed in. One tackled her arm, spinning her around as she struggled. Her bag slipped, revealing a stack of cash and a small jewelry pouch. Leona screamed, her voice echoing through the mansion. "You think you've won? I'm taking everyone down with me." Amaya froze, heart racing. The words sent chills down her spine. Every threat, every manipulation she had endured, every whispered warning. Leona wasn't done. "Sir," Amaya whispered, voice shaking. She's unstable. She'll try to hurt someone." Callum nodded sharply. "I know. Stay back. Let the officers handle her." Within moments, Leona was restrained, hands cuffed behind her back. Her face twisted in fury as officers read her rights. She struggled, screaming threats and insults, but the weight of justice was finally on her. Amaya let out a trembling breath, sinking against the nearest wall. The tension that had wrapped itself around her chest for weeks slowly eased. From behind, a small whimper drew her attention. The house manager, a middle-aged woman who had stayed loyal despite Leona's constant threats, crouched in the corner, tears streaking her cheeks. "Oh, Amaya, I thought we'd lose everything," she sobbed. "I've never been so scared in my life." Amaya knelt beside her, taking the trembling hands into her own. "You're safe now. She's gone. No one's going to hurt us anymore." The manager sniffled, letting herself lean on Amaya. "I can't believe it. I thought I'd lose my job. I thought she'd ruin all of us." Amaya squeezed her hands. "She tried, but we're stronger than her fear. We survived, and we're going to keep surviving, together." Callum approached, his expression softening as he saw Amaya comforting the woman. "You've been so brave, Amaya. I don't know how I could ever thank you enough." Amaya shook her head. "It's not bravery. It's survival. And helping each other is all we can do." The mansion felt lighter somehow, the oppressive tension giving way to cautious relief. But then, a sharp scream tore through the hallway, reverberating off the walls. Leona, in her cuffs, thrashed violently, eyes wild. "I'm taking everyone down with me." Amaya's stomach sank, and even Callum's expression darkened. The battle wasn't over yet. Leona's fury still burned. As officers struggled to contain her, Amaya realized the woman who had tormented them all for weeks might have one final, dangerous trick left, and no one knew what it could be. The courtroom was packed. Amaya sat beside Callum, hands folded tightly in her lap, heart pounding. The air was thick with tension. Leona entered with her attorney, her posture pristine, her smile cold and calculated. The judge cleared his throat. "This court is now in session." Leona stood first, pointing subtly toward Amaya. "Your Honor," she began, voice smooth and controlled, "I've been misunderstood. These accusations against me are exaggerated, misinterpreted, and the blame placed on me is misplaced." Amaya felt her stomach knot. She could see the crowd whispering, some faces skeptical, some unsure. "She is a liar, Your Honor," Leona continued, sweeping her hand toward Amaya. "Manipulative, deceitful, and reckless. The jewelry, the cameras, the supposed threats, it's all part of a narrative she created to make herself look heroic, to make me look like a villain. But I assure you, I am not." Gasps rippled through the courtroom. Callum's jaw tightened. He leaned forward, whispering, "Stay calm. Let the evidence speak for itself." Amaya swallowed hard, gripping her notebook. Every entry, every hidden camera, every note, it was all in there. Her hands trembled, but she had to stay composed. Leona's attorney added, "We have witnesses who can testify that Ms. Reddick was careless and untrustworthy. Surely, the court can see the pattern." The judge raised an eyebrow. "Pattern, you say? Very well. We will hear all testimonies." As the trial progressed, the extreme weight of Leona's lies became clear. She twisted every moment, every detail, blaming Mateo, the house manager, even Callum for being naive. Amaya's chest tightened. But outside the courtroom, support quietly grew. Community members who had heard of the mansion drama and Leona's manipulations began sharing messages and letters of support. Teachers from Amaya's youth, neighbors from Maryland, even a few local business owners, wrote statements praising her character, integrity, and resilience. Callum whispered, squeezing her hand, "See? People know the truth. Don't let her words shake you. You're stronger than she is." Amaya nodded, taking a deep breath. She pictured her grandmother's face, remembered the lessons of dignity and strength. "I can do this," she whispered, voice steady. The courtroom buzzed as another witness stepped forward, someone unexpected. Amaya's eyes widened. The judge's gavel paused mid-air, his expression tightening. I need a moment," the judge said, rising from his seat. "Recess until we can verify the testimony we've just received." A hush fell over the room. Murmurs spread through the audience like wildfire. Callum looked at Amaya, concern etched into his face. Amaya's notebook felt heavier in her lap, as if every page now carried more weight than ever. She leaned back in her chair, heart hammering, mind racing. Who had stepped forward? And what shocking truth would be revealed once the court reconvened? Amaya's pulse raced. This witness could change everything or destroy the fragile hope she'd built. The courtroom was silent as the doors opened. A woman in her 40s stepped forward, nervous but resolute. She was a former maid who had worked for the Draytons years ago. The judge nodded. "Please state your name and relationship to the case." "Margaret Hensley," she said, voice shaking slightly. "I was a housekeeper here for 6 months. I had to leave because of Mrs. Drayton." Leona's eyes narrowed, lips tight, her perfect composure cracking ever so slightly. Margaret took a deep breath. "During my time here, I experienced constant humiliation, threats, racist comments. I watched staff leave scared, crying, begging to be allowed to leave, and nobody believed us." Amaya's hands tightened around her notebook. Every word was proof, validation of everything she had felt and feared. "I saw her plant things, accuse staff falsely, manipulate my colleagues to turn against each other," Margaret continued, voice growing firmer. I stayed silent too long because I was afraid, but it's the truth." "Amaya, she's telling the truth." Gasps echoed through the courtroom. Leona's jaw tightened, the color draining from her face. Her attorney opened his mouth, but Margaret held up a hand. "You can try to deny it," Margaret said, voice unwavering. "But I lived it. And now it's finally being exposed." The room felt heavy with tension. Amaya's chest ached, but for the first time in weeks, it wasn't from fear, it was relief. She dared to glance at Callum. He was staring at her, his eyes softening, guilt etched deeply on his face. He reached over and whispered, "Amaya, I'm so sorry. I should have protected you sooner. I didn't realize how much you were suffering." Amaya shook her head, cutting him off gently. "It's not your fault, sir. You're here now. That's what matters. We can fix this together." Callum squeezed her hand, his voice low and steady. "I will never let anyone treat you like that again. I promise." Outside the courtroom, whispers spread through the audience, murmurs of support for Amaya growing louder. People nodded at her, their expressions filled with empathy and respect. For the first time, she felt the weight of isolation lift slightly. Leona sat frozen, her confidence shattered. The officers exchanged glances, the evidence stacking up against her, the witnesses corroborating Amaya's story, and now Margaret's testimony breaking the last facade. The judge cleared his throat, leaning forward. "Thank you, Miss Hensley. Your testimony has been noted. The court will now review all the evidence before reaching a verdict." A hush fell over the room. Amaya felt her pulse quicken, her notebook clutched tightly in her lap, every muscle tense. Callum leaned close. "No matter what happens, you've already shown strength beyond measure." Amaya's lips pressed into a thin line, nodding, but her heart pounded. The moment of truth had arrived. The judge's gavel lifted, his eyes sweeping the courtroom. "We are ready to deliver the verdict." Amaya's hands trembled. The silence before the words could either free her or shatter everything she had fought for. The courtroom fell silent as the jury filed back into their seats. Amaya's heart thudded so loudly she could feel it in her throat. Every second dragged like an eternity. The judge cleared his throat. "Members of the jury, have you reached a verdict?" The foreperson rose, voice steady. "We have, Your Honor. On the charges of harassment, falsifying evidence, and attempted framing, we find the defendant guilty on all counts." A collective gasp rippled through the courtroom. Leona's face turned pale, her lips parting in shock. She opened her mouth to protest, but the gavel came down sharply. "Order in the court," the judge bellowed. "This trial is adjourned for sentencing at a later date." Amaya felt tears prick her eyes. Relief, disbelief, and exhaustion flooded her all at once. She finally exhaled, a deep, shaking breath she didn't realize she'd been holding. Callum's hand was on her shoulder. "It's over, Amaya. You're safe now. You don't have to live in fear anymore." Amaya looked around at the courtroom, the officers, the witnesses, the supportive crowd. People who had once doubted her now nodded in respect. For the first time in months, she felt a sense of freedom. She glanced at Margaret, the former maid, who gave her a small, proud smile. "You deserve this," Margaret said softly. "You're brave. Never forget that." Amaya swallowed, letting herself smile for the first time in weeks. "Thank you for speaking the truth. I couldn't have done this alone." Callum guided her out of the courtroom. The sun outside seemed blinding after weeks of tension, but it felt warm, almost cleansing. Amaya inhaled deeply, savoring the fresh air, the freedom from fear, the knowledge that she was finally respected for who she was. "I can't believe it," she whispered. "It feels unreal." Callum nodded, his expression softening. "It's real, Amaya. You fought through everything, and you won. Don't ever let anyone tell you otherwise." Amaya's mind wandered to her grandmother, to Henry, to Bishop, all the people who had believed in her when no one else would. She felt their strength flowing through her. Just as she began to relax, Callum reached into his coat pocket and pulled out a small, sealed envelope. "Amaya," he said quietly, holding it out. This is from my late mother. She kept it for the right person. She would have wanted you to have this." Amaya blinked, confusion and curiosity mixing with her lingering relief. "From your mother? For me?" Callum nodded. "She admired your courage. She always knew someone like you deserved it." Amaya took the envelope with trembling hands. The paper felt heavier than it should, as if it carried all the love, hope, and wisdom from a woman she had never met. Her heart raced. I don't know what to say." Callum smiled softly. "You don't have to say anything. Just open it when you're ready." Amaya held the sealed letter close to her chest, wondering what secrets, guidance, or surprises it might contain, and knowing that whatever was inside could change her life forever. Amaya sat on the balcony of her small apartment, the city lights of Maryland glittering below. The envelope from Callum rested on her lap. Her hands trembled as she carefully broke the seal. Inside, she found stacks of cash, carefully bundled, and a handwritten note. "Use this to build something beautiful. Protect those who need a voice." Amaya blinked, her heart swelling with a mixture of disbelief and gratitude. Tears welled in her eyes. This is a chance to make a difference," she whispered to herself. Callum's voice came softly over the phone. "She believed in you, Amaya. She knew you'd do something good with it." Amaya nodded, holding the note close. "I will, sir. I promise." Years passed. The mansion drama faded into the past, but its lessons shaped every decision Amaya made. She poured herself into her nonprofit, a shelter for vulnerable domestic workers and young women facing discrimination and abuse. Every brick of the building, every program, every staff member was chosen with care, dedication, and the lessons she had learned. One afternoon, she was walking through the halls, checking on the women who now called the shelter home, when she saw her, a young maid, timid, clutching her bag like it was a lifeline. Her eyes darted around nervously, body tense with fear. Amaya's chest ached. She remembered her own terror, her own nights of hiding, trembling in the shadows of a house that was supposed to protect her. Kneeling, Amaya reached out gently. "Hey, it's okay. You're safe here. I promise." The girl flinched, but slowly let her hand meet Amaya's. I've never been treated like this, she whispered, voice trembling. Amaya's eyes glistened with tears. You're going to be okay. I've been where you are, and you don't have to face it alone anymore. The emotional weight of the moment hit Amaya. She had escaped the cycle of fear, lies, and cruelty, but she knew it still existed for many. And now, she had the power to break it for others. Standing, Amaya looked out at the city through the shelter's large windows. The sun was setting, painting the sky with streaks of gold and orange. A quiet strength filled her heart, a knowledge that pain could be transformed into purpose, fear into courage, and injustice into action. She took a deep breath. Kindness matters. Empathy matters. And we all have a voice worth using. The girl looked at her, wide-eyed, hope sparking in her gaze for the first time. Amaya smiled softly. We'll make it through together. And someday, you'll help someone else, too. The camera of the mind zoomed out. Amaya standing tall, surrounded by those she protected, a beacon of justice and love. Her story was a reminder. Even in the darkest moments, courage, empathy, and integrity could light a path forward. If you were inspired by Amaya's journey, take a moment today to stand up for kindness, speak out against racism, and support those who cannot defend themselves. Share this story, like, subscribe, and check out our next video to witness another tale of courage and hope. The sun dipped below the horizon, and Amaya's heart swelled with quiet triumph. Her fight had ended, but her mission had just begun.